Hey everybody, Dr. Anita Jackson here, founder and CEO of the Unlimited Woman Lifestyle and Business Network. Today I have the opportunity of interviewing Carolyn CJ Jones, who is the forgiveness expert and coach. She is one of my co-authors in our next book, Women of Courage, Women of Destiny, moving from fear to faith to freedom. Why is this topic of women being courageous so important to me and so important for our timing? Is that our time, our situation, and our culture and our world is dictating that it is so crucial for more women to become courageous and really showing up in their gifts and their talents, in their voice, so that they can make a bigger impact in their family, their community, and the world. And so a part of being courageous is learning the art of forgiveness, learning how to let go of those things that have been holding you back from really showing up in your personal life, in your business, in your finances, and in all the other areas that you live your life for and in. So CJ is here to have a conversation with me on this topic and to support you and encourage you as well in making a decision. You've heard me say through all of my interviews so far that that word decision means to reach a definite conclusion. And we want you to make a decision that you're going to be courageous this year, 2017, in making this the best year of your life and in your business. And that means becoming very strategic and maybe doing things a little bit differently. So let's get started. CJ, thank you so much for being here with me and having this amazing conversation. Would you do us a favor and tell our audience a little bit about you and why you do what you do so well?
Yes, I'd love to. Well, I guess in one sentence I would summarize myself by saying I am a hopeless romantic who believed in love and peace and all of those things. And I'm a kitty person. So I have a cat, Izzy, that I adore tremendously.
I love it.
And last night she came under the covers and cuddled with me for the first time in 8 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it was so special. Anyway, see, I get moved by the simplest things.
I love it.
I do what I do because I spent a lifetime, 30 plus adult years, being very angry and very bitter, blaming and playing the victim, and it was all over my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't healed from it. During that 30 years, I drank and drugged until everything hit the fan, and I crashed. Yeah, really. I crashed and burned, got sober, and about 4 years into sobriety, I learned to forgive my parents. That has been the most peaceful and freeing feeling I have ever experienced in my life. And I want to share that with people if they're dealing with resentment in their life, especially from their upbringing. I would love to share with you how to get beyond that so that you too can have this incredible feeling of peace and freedom.
Love it. So as we have been talking over the past couple of weeks, this concept of being a woman of courage, CJ, I really would love to hear your thoughts. How do you define courage?
I think courage is the desire and the action to move forward, even though you're in fear. I think courage is becoming willing to look at things from a different point of view. That's how I would define courage. The force, if you will, that allows us to continue beyond our comfort level.
Mm-hmm. A few of you may be looking and saying, what is Anita doing? I'm actually taking notes because so many of my experts and my authors who are part of this particular video summit have been sharing some powerful nuggets. And I hope you hear what she just said, that courage is the desire and action to move forward. And what a powerful statement. Can you expound upon that? What does it mean to have this thing called desire, which I think is really coming forward? There's a particular mentor who's really focusing on how do you manifest that in your life. So what's your description of desire and action, and why is this necessary for women right now?
Well, the desire comes from when things are bad enough that they need to change, that you're that uncomfortable that you need to change it. For me, it was, I was tired of being drunk and crying and always so sad. And that's what it gave me courage to change and move forward to sobriety.
You know, that's a powerful statement, CJ, because there comes a point, I believe, in everyone's life where we hit this wall that says, enough is enough. I'm tired of, sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
So much so that I'm ready to take the steps, even the hard ones, which means you have to be really courageous to take those hard steps to move forward in your personal life and even in your business. So I really appreciate that. If you were to give an action step, since you were talking about courage is the desired action step, what action step would you encourage our audience to take in helping them develop their courage?
Becoming willing. Becoming willing to look at things from a different viewpoint, becoming willing to let go of anger, to let go of the current perception that you have about the situation or the experience, so that you can give way, open the way for a new perception to come in for you. And the third thing to do for action is to practice gratitude.
Yes.
That is such a powerful force, Anita. Really gratitude is.
You know, it's funny because one of my mentors, multimillionaire, and she challenged us not too long ago in our program. And one of the things she challenged us to do is to create a list of 100 things to be grateful for. And listen, it can't all be the same. You really have to think about it. And I think it was really a powerful exercise because it slowed everybody down. And it's funny because a few people were able to do it in one day, and a few took maybe a few more days because they really didn't realize how much they weren't grateful for. So they had to stop and process, I'm grateful for my dog. I'm grateful for my family, grateful for my roommate, grateful for ... whatever those things may be. And sometimes we don't realize that can shift your energy and your mindset almost overnight, so quickly when you do that. I actually have one. I'm very proud to say I was able to do mine in 2 days. That's cool.
Oh, wow, good. That's great.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, gratitude is a transformational force.
Oh, yes.
It really is.
So let's go a little bit deeper. Let's start to take this a little bit deeper. So since this summit is about empowering women to be courageous, what do you think are the top 3 challenges that women are currently experiencing? And outside of what you've already shared, what courageous steps can they take to get over or move past those top 3 challenges?
I think some of the things that challenge women today are finding the courage to be ourselves.
Ooh, yes.
And to speak up for our beliefs rather than go along with the crowd because we don't want to start waves. We don't want to cause waves.
So speaking
I think that's, I'm sorry?
Speaking up is the second one?
Yes, and speaking up. And then the third thing would be, I think that forgiveness is a very important part of living. Before forgiveness, though, is compassion. So I would say the third thing is compassion, and out of compassion flows forgiveness.
Love it. And so, I mean, I agree with you. I think we have, as women, we have been conditioned so much in our personal life and especially in our society and our culture to sacrifice ourselves, to abandon our own dreams and desires and wants. We keep them small because we're afraid that someone would judge us if someone comes out, how dare they, and have the audacity to say, hey, I want to have a seven-figure business. If you're not people who are in that mindset, you're going to be questioned or judged or criticized. And so we'll keep that to ourselves. And what that does is it doesn't allow it to flourish. I'm the perfect example of that. I hid that desire, even though I always knew there's something in me that likes the celebrity life without being a celebrity. I'm like, I don't want to go to Hollywood. I don't want to be on film. If somebody gives me an opportunity, I'm stupid, I'll do it. I'm not truly having to become an actor. That's not my intention. Or become a singer or something like that. That's my intention. But I do want to make a big global impact. I'm drawn to that kind of energy. So I kept it quiet and did the safe road. I went to school, got all of my degrees, and I've accomplished quite a bit in my life I'm very proud of. But there was something still missing because I wasn't fulfilling that inner desire. And I think being ourselves allows us to pursue that desire very easily. Yeah. And then you said speaking up, really sharing our voice. I believe that's huge. Could you talk a little bit more about that? What do you mean by speaking up?
By what?
What do you mean by speaking up? You said that was your second.
Oh, speaking up.
Yeah, challenge that women are experiencing right now.
Yes. I think personally for me, it is, I often don't say what I'm feeling or thinking if it differs from what someone else is saying, because I'm afraid that I won't be liked, for example. On Facebook, sometimes I don't post what I would like to, especially now with post-election posts that I would like to be posting. I can't, and I don't, because I'm afraid of getting in trouble with people, that they're not going to like me. And that is definitely a hangover from childhood, that I will get in trouble.
See, it's interesting because that instantly triggered the psychologist in me. My therapist kicked in instantaneously and wanted to go, well, okay, let's deal with this.
Yes.
We won't deal with this on the video summit, but that's I understand that on probably a different level, because I've never really been afraid to share what I wanted to share vocally, but I will take my time before I say it. I'll be very strategic about how I say it. I'll still say it, but I'll be very strategic in how I say it, because of, if it's not said right, or what if someone misinterprets what I'm saying, or what if there's judgment and criticism and all those things. I finally got to a point where I realized I'm not responsible for someone else's feelings or thoughts. I'm only responsible for my own. When I finally let that become my truth, a lot of freedom came for me to share. I'm still responsible for how I say it, but I'm not responsible for how someone responds to me once I say it. That's not my job. Or my
excellent point. Yeah, excellent point. Excellent point.
So
myself, I have been working on that. It's since I got sober, and about 10 years into sobriety, this came up to me as an issue, for me as an issue. And I've been working on it ever since then. And what I found is the need to remain invisible, so I remained safe, was following me around in my profession. So I've made great strides in getting beyond that.
Yes. It's funny you should say that, because I was actually getting ready to say that myself, is when you're not speaking up for yourself, there's a good chance you're not speaking up for your business. So that's going to affect your visibility and your ability to be heard, to be found, and be hired by your clients. So speaking up for yourself means you'll actually speak up for your business just as well. So those two go hand in hand. They're not separate issues. They work together. So if you want to increase your visibility, you've got to be speaking up on a regular basis. Yeah, so I see that. Let's go a little bit deeper. Let's talk about fear. Let's talk about fear. How do you define fear?
Well, for the longest time, it was that I would run from it. It was something to run from. Now I see it as fix everything and recover.
I've never heard that. Fix everything.
Fix everything and recover.
Fix everything.
Or feel everything and recover. That's another acronym.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that one too.
And recover.
Because we can't always fix everything.
That's true.
All we can do is take action and let go and see what happens.
But feelings are so powerful. They give you so much wisdom and insight, and it gives you the power to make a new decision. So if you take the time to say, I'm afraid, let me feel this, what is it triggering? Now I can make a new choice. I can make a new decision to move past it. And that's what's going to help me recover. So I'm going to borrow that one. Thank you, CJ. I'm going to be using that one a lot. That's a good one.
You're welcome.
I love that one.
As far as fear, fear guided me in my whole life. I was fearful of everything. And when it comes right down to it, the biggest thing I was fearful about, and some days still am fearful about, is letting myself be seen.
Yeah.
As I said.
Yeah. You know, it's an issue I see on a regular basis. And I have to tell you, I have the same exact issue. And it's kind of funny now that I'm really visible and I'm pretty much known for global visibility and really supporting women and getting a message, to brand the message and get this out there. And I remember there was a year where I had a particular friend, she'll know who she is, hi, give her a little wink. She's constantly saying to me, you need to be doing videos, you need to be doing videos, you need to be out there, you've got all this information, you've got so much wisdom, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I wouldn't do it because my thought was, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not articulate enough, I don't look good on cameras, I don't take good pictures, and all these I'm not good enough, statements.
Right.
What happened, what changed that, I was out in Hawaii speaking at an event. We had a day off and we were walking through the Hawaiian rainforest, and I took a picture, actually took a video of myself, and I had this god ugly orange shirt on, my hair was back in a ponytail. I was having such a spiritual out of body, out of mind experience that I didn't think about the I'm enough, not good enough statement. I just picked up my little $40 phone, did this particular video, and I posted it on Facebook, really without thinking. I just did it. That video got so many responses that I realized most people aren't thinking the same things that I'm thinking about how I am or what I look like or how I'm even speaking. The fact that I just shared authentically, that I shared from my heart, that I had an emotional experience with my hair pulled back, sunglasses on, ugly orange shirt, sweating. So I really wasn't attractive at all because we're walking up this hill and I hadn't done any kind of exercise in years, so I was huffing and a puffing.
Oh, I bet.
But it had such a powerful move. That video, it was probably like a minute and 30 seconds, got 194 views. And I just went,
gosh.
Okay, it doesn't really matter. If you're authentic and speaking from your heart, this other stuff that we play in our head really doesn't matter at all. And so that opened up the door for me to just do my TV show. I was afraid doing my TV show, but the more I realized this, the message that I'm sharing, it's not about me. It got easier and easier. So just share your message. Just be authentic. And that stuff will disappear pretty quickly.
99% of the time, people are not thinking about us. They're thinking about themselves.
Yeah. Very true.
And how they come across.
Right. And they really don't care. I had a couple people like, I love that you were real. And I'm like, yeah, I was real. Well, let's go a little bit deeper. How do you deal with fear? What are some steps that you take in dealing with fear?
To be really honest with you, sometimes I take a nap.
That's good. Oh,
yeah, just to escape from it.
Yeah.
And then what I do usually, I do several things. I talk to people and get input from them, or I just move forward and take one little step, just one little step. And from that, I gain courage to move forward.
Yeah.
One thing I've always been good at is keeping hope that things will get better. And so even when I'm fearful, I still have that inkling of hope in my psyche that doesn't let me quit.
Yeah.
So I go beyond that fear
Yeah.
using my courage,
Yeah.
getting willing, letting go, becoming grateful, all of those things, practicing compassion and forgiveness.
Love it. You know, let's sit here a little bit longer because I know that you being a forgiveness coach, you actually have several processes that you actually take clients through so they can actually experience the release that they need and letting go of the fear, letting go of the anxiety, the worry, the doubt, the anger specifically,
Yeah.
that holds them back from being courageous to stepping into their dreams, their desires, and whatever elements of success they want to have in their life. Would you be willing very quickly share one of your processes? I think it's called Yippee, if I remember correctly.
It is. It's the Yippee method, YIPPEE, and it stands for yearn. So we look at our mindset, investigate. We investigate our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, our actions. We practice the process that we learned in the yearn and investigate stages. And then we evolve into empowerment. And that's the stage where we learn about compassion and forgiveness.
Love it. So I wanted her to share that so you can hear that, you know, if you are in a point in your life, if you were even more triggered because of all the political stuff that's come forward, and it's been interesting for me as a psychologist, I feel as more women have been triggered by this whole entire experience. And for a moment there, it seemed like they've lost their power, but we're regrouping and we're coming back. But if you're still feeling some level of sadness or frustration or confusion or whatever the situation may be that's blocking you from moving forward, you can see that CJ has the ability to actually help you through that process. And so now let's go one more step further. Let's talk a little bit, CJ, about faith. You know, this is my intention for this particular video summit and for the Unlimited Woman movement is to get women to make the decision that they will no longer live in fear. They'll get to this place of faith, and then that faith will move them into freedom. So how do you define faith?
I define faith as a belief in a force or a power greater than I am.
Mm-hmm.
That can be the universe, that can be God, that can be Allah, that can be anything. And it can be, in recovery circles, they say it can be the door, it can be the doorknob, whatever it is, it can be your pet, it can be nature. But something to which I can turn when I'm feeling frustrated or down or need some guidance, and pray, ask for help. That's the action step. And then let go and see what happens. A perfect example, Anita, is at the very end of my drinking, I drank and cried for 2 months. And that's all I did. I didn't even eat.
Wow.
I was so distraught over a situation. Well, finally, at the end of that 2 months, I knew I was killing myself, literally. So I stood on the back of a boat where I was living at the time, and I lifted my arms to the heavens and prayed to a God I didn't even believe in, asking for help. Within 3 weeks, I was on the road to San Diego to stay with my former bartender, who was getting sober herself, and I was going to get sober. I know now that that was my prayer being answered, and so that really tripled my faith. And that's where I learned faith from.
Beautiful.
The place I learned faith from was the book Conversations with God, where I began to believe that God is in everything and everyone and everywhere, and everything is a sign.
That book's by Neil Walsh, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Neil Donald Walsh, yeah.
Great
Yeah.
book. I'm not going to write it again. You know, A Conversation with God. I encourage other people to read it too. See, it's interesting. I really appreciate your sharing your vulnerability and your truth and your relationship with God. I too believe that, you know, God is bigger than myself. That's the word I choose to use, God, source, or spirit, whichever word works best for you. And when you come to, well, let me start by saying, we have to remember, I believe, and I believe most people are coming to this place of knowing and belief that we are spiritual beings in a human body, and we're having these human experiences. And these human experiences often, unfortunately, can distract us or take us away from our spiritual truth. So when we believe in something bigger than ourselves, when we believe in God, we are reminded of that spiritual truth on the inside, since we're made in God's image. And in that truth comes the wisdom, the intuition, and the knowledge, the downloads that we need to help us get back on track or move forward from where we are, if we're stuck, to the next level. So I really appreciate you giving that demonstration of I surrender, I give it to you, and then boom, within weeks, your spirit and God lead you on a new path. And now here you are, an expert speaking around the world on radio shows and TV shows. You're a international best-selling author. You've got this amazing program. You're just doing it because you surrendered, and that surrendering put you on this path.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I see that my whole life was orchestrated by a divine force, starting with the child abuse, going all the way through an alcoholic binge for 30 years, an alcoholic marriage for 20 of those 30 years, all the way up to when I had that situation with the unrequited love that took me to my bottom. It was all orchestrated by the divine so that I could heal from it all and share how I healed with others so that they too can heal.
I'm a firm believer that all things, I don't care how traumatic it is, all things work together for good. I believe it with all my heart. I believe God designed us for that purpose and that we get through it. We just have to be willing to go through it and learn the lesson.
Yes.
So let's take it one more step deeper. Let's start talking about once we have mastered our faith, or we have developed our faith in God or source or spirit, whichever word you choose to use. How does faith move you to freedom, and then define what freedom is?
Faith moves me to freedom because it allows me peace.
Ooh, I love that.
It allows me to be peaceful. And when I turn it over, when I let go and turn it over to the divine, what I find is that I do become free. For me, freedom is the shedding of the old.
Love it.
Shedding of the unhappy, the trauma, the unhappiness, shedding of all of that stuff, and becoming free to express who I am, what I am, without fear. That's freedom.
It's like a caterpillar becoming a catalyst, becoming, breaking out of its cocoon, and then becoming this beautiful butterfly. And
exactly.
That's when we're free, is when we emerge from this cocoon, these old perceptions, these abuses, these challenges that have been keeping us stuck and bound and closed. And once we allow ourselves to move from fear to faith to freedom, we now evolve into a very powerful sense of being in our transformation and involvement. I love it. Love it. Yeah. If there was anything else you'd want to share before we end our time together, what would that be?
I would like to give you hope. And HOPE is an acronym that stands for two things. It stands for hold on, pain ends.
Yes.
And it does end over time when the timing is right. And the second thing it stands for is hold on, possibilities emerge. And that's when we take action. All sorts of possibilities come up for us.
That's when we become unlimited. I love it. Well,
yes.
Carolyn CJ Jones, I adore you. I know you know this by now. I try to have everything. You can see her heart is so pure. And she really has such a desire to heal you and everybody around the world so that you can experience life to the fullest, so that you can experience life unlimited. And so I'm looking forward to this book. Our book is coming out in March, and I want you to have this so that you can hear the stories and the strategies that each of my authors have presented in the book to help you move from fear to faith to freedom. We also have a few other experts who are going to be a part of our telesummit or this video summit, because there's something very specific about the message that I also want you to have to support you going further. So thank you so much for being a part of this interview with CJ and I. We want you to, again, make that decision, reach that definite conclusion within yourself that this year, 2017, is the year you're going to be courageous. You're going to show up in your life. You're going to follow through with your words and your actions matching on a regular basis. You're going to have hope. You're going to hold on because possibilities merge. That's such a powerful statement. Make this your truth and tweet that. That was good. And make sure you put Carolyn CJ Jones next to it. We're looking forward to helping you experience unlimited and outrageous success in 2017 and beyond. Until then, take care of you. Bye-bye. Okie dokie, pokey nokie. Well,
all right, what do you think?
I think it was great. I think it'll be perfect. It'll be totally fine.
Okay, great. I didn't sound husky.
No, if anything, it sounded like the more you talk, the clearer it got. So
okay, great. Great.
I think we're fine. Thank you. It's still recording.
Hey,